I feel like you've had a lot of experience with this. I'm getting that impression.
I guess it's not just me, it's my girls as well. Yeah.
Okay, so what? That the guys that you've been meeting and dating, they're just not what they say they are?
That is something that unfortunately, because there's a lot of let me just say that I believe that the reason why relationships or dating is not good nowadays, or most of the times is not good, is because there is a lack of character, there's a lack of integrity, and there's actually a lack of leadership from somebody, and that also links up to the lying and the betraying and the making sure that you see me in one way but then I'm not that person. So I think that's the biggest problem. So yeah, I have plenty of experience and the girls have plenty of experience too.
Interesting. That does make me wonder, because I think that happens very much on both sides, men and women. But there are, good people into relationships all the time.
Oh yeah, there is. Yeah.
So I guess I would ask, what is making you and your friends choose those kinds of men?
I think what it happens is we all fall into this track of believing on the fairy tale that we were told when we were little. And then we all have that supposed type, even though we don't want to have that type, but then it comes out that you always end up liking the same type of guy. He's very charming, he's very fun, he's portraying to be this guy that's going to give it all. And then unfortunately, then when you realize that they lack all the important things, as I mentioned, the character, the integrity, and the leadership, it's something that, is very sad, because I don't think it's that we really choose them. I think what happens is they present themselves in a certain way, and then suddenly you attracted to them, but then you come into this circle of lies, and then you don't know what to do with it, because then you get to the attachment with that person, because suddenly after 6 days, maybe 10 days, everything is still good. They're very good actors, but then, you realize that they shouldn't get, more an Oscar than from being the biggest liar in the world.
We getting out here Oscars, but
Yeah.
Oscar winning performance. I get what you're saying, and I'm definitely not saying there aren't guys out there like that. But you're an attractive woman, so you'll be attracting all kinds of guys, right?
Yes,
You'll be
yeah.
attracting good guys, bad guys, nice guys, manipulative, like all of that, right? And so I'm not saying you are saying this, but if you're saying that there's been a consistent pattern with the guys that you have experience with, because I know for a fact there'll be some really good, nice, genuine guys watching this right now being like, I would be integral with you. I am someone who's authentic, but maybe because he's not as tall as the other guy, he's not as attractive, or he's not as successful. A lot of those good, genuine guys who have the character maybe don't actually get an opportunity. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree
So
with
I
that.
guess it's one of those things which is why I asked you, what is it about a guy that initially attracts you to them?
I feel, in my opinion, from my experience, of course, we all, and I think biologically for men it's the same thing. But for me, I'm not saying for women in general.
Yeah.
I'm very attracted to the physique. So if somebody has a good physique, they look after themselves, they're charming, they've got good teeth, they smell good. So you're like, initially this is really good. But then the problem is what comes after. So unfortunately, what we realize, and I don't know if it's happened to you even with women, so women are very superficial and their appearance is fantastic, but all that muscle that we want on men, for example, and we're like, oh yeah, he looks good, there's no muscle going on in here, so that muscle is just kind of not working, a lot here but not here. So unfortunately it's the same as with women, they look absolutely amazing, and then unfortunately they just have the priorities somewhere else and they just don't know how to handle themselves correctly.
I agree. So if you were going to say, I agree, completely agree. So if a guy came to you and was like, I keep dating these really attractive women, right? Or rather, he keeps dating women where they're not the substance he's looking for. And you're like, okay, how are you choosing these women? He's like, well, because they're really gorgeous, they have amazing figures. And then I find out after. What would you say to him?
Then you can still choose these women, but maybe unfortunately you might have the reality check, which it happens to women the same as men, that this person hasn't got a brain as much as you want them to have, and be able to have consistency and some kind of substance for them to be able to keep your attention on a longer term.
Yeah. Interesting. It's actually really relevant because I had this conversation with a friend of mine yesterday.
Okay.
In the sense that a lot of the women that he was dated are very attractive, but none of them have the substance he's looking for. And he was saying about, oh, he's like ready for a serious relationship, etc., etc. And I was like, well, the reason, and it's been like this for the most of his adult life, right? And I was like,
he's on his 30s?
He's 28.
Okay.
28. And I was like, well, the reason you're not finding it is because you keep choosing based on these metrics. Like you keep choosing the girl, the it girl in the room, the girl who every guy wants, right? Because of how she looks. And it's if you're looking for something different, you have to start choosing for different reasons. Right. Now, that's not me saying that, okay, you have to now choose a girl who's like you're not attracted to. But, you know, we all have, I guess I'm talking for a guy, I guess I'd ask this for women, right? As men, it's like there are girls who are really attractive that, you know, we would definitely, you know, sleep with. And there are girls who maybe aren't as attractive, but there's still a level of attraction that we would still be intimate with, right? So what I said to him, I was like, at the moment, you've been choosing the girl who you have the most physical attraction to. And that's why you're not finding it. So I was like, choose a girl where when you look at her, you still are attracted to her. But as long as that box is ticked, then look for something else. Right. So it doesn't have to be that, oh, out of, you know, I'm using this as an example, right? Out of 10 girls, right? Maybe 5 of them he finds attractive. And out of that 5, like maybe 2 of them, he's like, yeah, I'm super attracted to. And the other ones are like, oh, like, you know, I could, you know, like I'm attracted, but I'm not like super physically there. And I'm like, okay, as long as that box is ticked, then look for, because he loves deep intellectual conversations, then look for that. Then look for someone who displays that loyalty, etc. And at least what you said to me, you like the guy who's, you know, attractive, you know, nice teeth, all of this stuff. But if you're choosing for that reason, that's why you're not finding the substance.
I've have a theory about this.
Go for it.
What I've realized is just depending on the stage of life, you might be looking for dating for experience or dating for a goal. So,
True.
Right. So this could be that your friend may want to date for a goal, but is he really ready for it? Has he got enough experience? Does he really know what he wants? And I feel that what happens is there is 5 different stages that I believe on dating we should all take. If you allow me to mention
Go for it. I'd love to hear it.
I think we should have a look. First, obviously, is the attraction and the chemistry that you have with somebody.
Okay.
You just go like, oh my God, like I'm attracted to this person. But most people, what do, kid? They say, I like that person. You can't like that person. You don't know the person.
Yep.
Then you get to like them a little bit.
Yep.
You're getting to know them and you're taking a minute and you're like, okay, the conversations are good and they're productive. And then on the other side, you look at the compatibility with that person. Can we talk about coaching? Can we talk about sports? Do we like music the same way? Can we, you know, do we believe our values are the same? Then on the other side, then you've got the lifestyle. What's the religion, the politics, what they do on a day-to-day basis. So then that kind of stuff is something that I think we should look at. And then at the end is the connection. Is what's connecting you just superficial, or can you really connect with somebody and be in the same room when you're quiet and you actually feel comfortable with them without having to say anything? That's when I think you really know that you're actually with somebody that can really, really look into a longer term situation. I
agree. I love all those things. But I think the connection comes first.
Really?
Yeah.
How can you say, am I allowed to ask you a
question? Of course. You're here to ask questions. This is a conversation.
I know, but I don't know if it's the right time or I need to do this after.
Whatever you want. This is free.
If you believe the connection is first, how do you think you connect with somebody as a number one, let's say, on the to-do list?
So when I say connection is first, as in the connection is what makes you choose them. Like gives the opportunity. Because you started with the attraction.
Correct, because that's the first thing you look at somebody, right?
That is the first thing you see, for sure. I'll give you this example.
Go on then.
Anyone who watches this, who knows me, is going to be like, yeah, this is true.
Ooh.
When I was, especially in like my early to mid 20s, and I was, you know, just being single, having my experience, I would have like casual relationships with women who were like very attractive.
Okay.
Right. And I would only because they were very attractive would I be like, yeah. And then it got to a point where I realized with a few, I didn't like who they were as a person.
Okay.
And there was actually no connection apart from just the physical chemistry. And I kind of realized, I asked myself, like, if we weren't, actually being intimate, right? Would I even enjoy being in this person's company?
Okay.
And there are a few people I was like, no. And that's when I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. Now, have I had like casual, connections with people? Sure. But for me, there has to be a level of connection. It's not enough for her to just be for me to find her attractive. I would rather have a like casual, fun kind of situation, right? With a girl that there's a level of attraction, but I have a connection with her, than a girl who's
Let me
like,
stop you.
Go on.
What do you call connection?
Somebody who there is an element of friendship. Friendship is reciprocity.
Okay.
Friendship is consideration.
Okay.
So I would rather have an element of that with someone who I have a level of attraction to, but she may not be the most attractive girl I've ever seen, than have none of that with a girl who I'm super attracted to.
But how do you find that out? How do you know when you actually really find that connection?
Well, because what I would say is that when you, for example, you give somebody a chance, so you go on a first date.
Right.
Yeah.
But you go on a first date because you were attracted to them first, right?
There is a level of attraction.
Right.
Of course, I'm not saying attraction isn't important.
Okay.
But if I'm using the example of my friend, he would choose to go on a date with the girls who were the most attractive.
But he's probably thinking about something else. He's not thinking about.
Well, he's so used to choosing women that way.
Okay.
And when girls are so used to choosing men that way, this is what happens.
Right.
So, and I'd even say, and you can tell me what you think, I'd even say it's different for men and women, because the difference is, at least for many women I've talked to, if you see a guy and physically you're kind of like, okay, I'm not unattracted to him, but I'm not super attracted to him. If he has other qualities, as most women can grow attraction to him.
I agree with that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's even more of a
not
reason.
Men.
Not men. Men, not the case. But the difference is with men, their threshold for what they find attractive is much lower than women's.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Which is why I said to him, as long as that threshold is met, right? You don't have to go, like, if this is the minimum threshold of what you find attractive and this is the highest, at the moment you've just been choosing up here because they're up here.
Right.
And I'm saying, make sure she reaches that threshold, but then choose for something else for what you're looking for. And you're right, he's dating with a goal, right? He wants to have a connection, relationship. That's what he's ready for. And many people, guys, but women as well, they're so used to choosing the guy who's up here because he's up here. And I'm saying that when
he's up there, how?
Because he's very attractive and he's very successful.
Only because of attraction and success? Do you think most women are doing that?
Yeah, because if he's really attractive and very successful, right? Most, like on paper, he's a very attractive guy, right? And visually, right? So if you want to start, like I was saying to him, if you want to start having something else, then we have to start choosing for different reasons. Because I've had it where I've been on a date with a very attractive girl, but there was it was just physical.
Back. Right.
It was just physical. Could we have had fun? Sure. But then, if I'm being honest, even if you're like having, a chilled fun time with someone, right? You're still spending time with them.
Right, of course.
Right? So their personality still matters, even if you're not choosing them for a relationship.
Right.
At least that's what I believe anyway. So for you, I completely get, but it sounds like you're like, the physical attraction has been the reason you're choosing, and that's why this is happening.
I think not only for myself, as I said, I mentioned it for the girls.
Yep.
But I would say that the problem that you have is that that's your initial eye view. So whatever it is that you go in, you're not going to look at the one that is just, looking like a Trump, no offense to the people that live in the streets.
Yeah.
But, that's not the kind of standard that you have for the person. Only just because if you're somebody that look after yourself, and I know you said that in your interviews, then, I want to have somebody that looks after themselves too. But at the same time, a lot of people that are on that track or thought, they actually end up being with people that are very narcissistic, or they've got narcissistic traits, and they've got very big problems with insecurity. And that's where it comes to it. I think that's where we end up with the issue.
I don't disagree with you, but the tendencies you're describing, right, of those things are most often found in the people who are so used to leveraging their attractiveness to get what they want. That's why they lack the character a lot of the time. Obviously not all, right? Obviously not all.
No, not everybody.
Because let me ask you this. When was the last time you went on a date with a guy that you weren't unattracted to, but you weren't really attracted to?
Back in March, April.
Okay. So why did you go on a date with him?
Because his character was amazing. Like, he made me laugh.
Great.
He knew how to talk. He knew how to handle me. And he was absolutely nice. Very good.
Okay, so I think that's a perfect example, right?
Yeah.
Like, how was that different to other attractive guys that you dated before?
I normally will not go out with a man that I'm not attracted with. But I decided to change the chip. So
okay, and what
maybe
happened
it was a little bit before.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he doesn't live in the UK, so it's a little bit hard. He lives in the US.
Okay. So, like, I guess in that example, right, that felt different.
Oh, totally different.
Yeah? Did that feel better than what you'd had before?
Let's say, would you call different better?
Okay.
It depends on one side of things you look at it. So if you are somebody that very stuck into the form of loving somebody or wanting to be with somebody that's physically perfect in your eyes, then you're not open for other things. But if you start being open to other possibilities like this one, then you're in a good place.
Hope you really enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode where that clip is from, then I want you to click right here where you can watch the full episode. And if you're ready to claim your man today, enroll in my program below, and I'll see you there. Wishing you an amazing day.